Yeah, brilliant strike last night. His 15th Premier League goal of the season and his 5th goal in his last 4 matches in the top flight. It's a run of form, which means he's now averaging a goal every 106 minutes in the Premier League, a record that puts him ahead of Erling Haaland, ahead of Mohamed Salah. Chris Wood deserves a mention here, a goal every 110 minutes. So his 15 league goals have actually come from just 22 appearances due to injury. One thing we know, he loves playing at St James's Park as well. He's scored in each of his last 5 Premier League home matches. Easy to see why he's been linked with a potential £100 million move in the summer, but Newcastle and Eddie Howe will be desperate to keep him.
Yeah, those stats stack up. So, Arsenal, amongst others, have been linked with him. But if you're Newcastle, how key is he for you?
I think he's absolutely vital. I mean, he's played a similar amount of minutes as he did last year, but he's already added 5 more goals to his name. And only Erling Haaland averages more XG per 90, so he is a consistent threat. And we've seen last night that sort of quality. You know, he's coming up against Jarrad Branthwaite, who's in the most recent England squad. He's getting calls to start at the Euros. He made him look quite foolish in that instance, although Jarrad Branthwaite did respond pretty well in that game. But Alexander Isak is a really, really high quality player. He sort of reminds me a little bit of Thierry Henry in some of his style of play, some of that way he manipulates defenders, manipulates goalkeepers. I think he's got a really, really high ceiling. But from Newcastle's perspective, with Callum Wilson now into his 30s, increasingly injury prone, with Miguel Almiron dropping off this year, with Harvey Barnes having injury issues, they can't really consider selling Alexander Isak this summer. It would be a huge blow for them, especially with PSR rules tightening their belts in recent years. You know, losing Alexander Isak as their primary source of goals this year would be a huge blow.
Well, conversely, they might feel they have to sell him to strengthen in other areas. I guess that's the dilemma they're going to have, isn't it? Because we saw them not spend a penny in January when they really needed some help with all the injuries they'd had in the months leading up to that. And as you say, these PSR rules are so tight for Newcastle at the moment. But James is saying, potential £100 million bids from clubs for Isak this summer. It's been pretty hard for Newcastle to turn down. You feel like they're vulnerable to a big bid coming in for someone like Isak because, yeah, as you say, how important he is to them, and with Wilson, struggling with injuries, but being a good goal scorer when he does play, but not always being able to rely on him. Isak is important, but at some point Newcastle might have to do a trade-off, and I guess the real thing for them is they need to get European football to try and boost those finances, to boost the revenue, because then that gives you a little bit more room on the old PSR. How that's worked out, but of course last night was a setback for that. They could have gone up to 7th and they just missed out there.